Hey, welcome to RCAM. I'm your host, Ryan, and thank you for tuning in today. Just give me 1 second here. All right. All right. So we got quite a bit to talk about today. So for those of you who are unaware, we're going to be, or who Benny Johnson is, we're going to be talking about him. So he is making the rounds right now because he shamelessly plagiarize somebody's content. So I will show you that clip in a little bit. But for those of you who might be unfamiliar with who he is a conservative creator. And I probably wouldn't be talking about him if he also wasn't somebody that claimed Christ. So he's a Christian. And when you're a Christian, you're kind of held to a higher standard. If you're going to be doing creating content, you should be creating your own content and not repping off of other people's. So we're going to talk about this latest video that he passed off as his own, in addition to him having a very long history of plagiarism, going back to 2017. And so, and there's even an instance that I'll mention that I saw with my own two eyes. It happened in real time. And in addition to that, I've also seen this guy jump on content, I misrepresent content, and then never even issue like a retraction or an apology for it. So we're going to be talking about that today. So this is him. This is Benny Johnson. You've probably seen a lot of his videos. And I will go on and say the videos that he does produce, if they're really his, are very well done. I mean, he has, in conservatism, he probably has some of the most well-produced videos in conservatism. But one of the things that I did notice about some of his videos in particular is that they match Mr. Beast's style. So, you know, I've followed Mr. Beast videos. Let me see if I can find one.
Great skin. Thanks.
All right. Benny Johnson. We'll just do this live. Let's see, because he's done some pretty good videos.
Is there anywhere higher we?
Oh, this is perfect. So this is one of those videos that I do think is very stylistically similar to Mr. Beast content.
Is there anywhere higher we can go in the hotel?
We do have the roof.
So even, you know, I'm not going to dog him on this. You know, if he drew inspiration from Mr. Beast, that's fine. That's not that big of a deal. But what is a big deal is when you are blatantly taking somebody else's content. So we have this girl named Erin Wexler who publicly added Benny Johnson and said, hey, I'd like to let you know why you think it's acceptable to steal my content. You use my videos, the content that I originate, I spend time shooting and editing, and tack on some squeaky line, add a gift at the end, and slap your watermark on my face, and then don't even tag me or credit me in your caption. And this is not the first time. You're getting the views on my content before I can even share it on YouTube and using me as the thumbnail for your video. It's cheap. Why don't you try coming up with something of your own? So let's play the video that he stole.
Have you heard of liberal math? It's destroying the country.
So you've heard about girl math, but what about liberal math? Liberal math is if you get something that's paid for with your taxes, but not with your credit card, then it is free.
What does that even mean? Like, why don't you I mean, what?
If you just keep printing money, then everything is free. If there is a war we do not like, then it is very expensive. But if there is a war we do like, then it is free. If gas is the same and not higher than it was last week, then you've actually made money. If you go to college and study communist dance theory, then the government will just force someone else to pay off your loan, so it will be free.
What the hell are you talking about?
If you're a hardworking, tax-paying homeowner contributing to society, well, don't be silly. Obviously, then nothing is free. But if you're an undocumented, unvaccinated, unknown, unverified, un-American illegal immigrant, well then, everything is free.
She makes some good points, for sure. So But she did make a video responding to that. And here's what she kind of detailed.
So you've heard about girl math, and now you've heard about liberal math from a few places. Now let's talk about Benny Johnson math. Benny Johnson math is if you take someone else's content and don't tag them, then it's actually your original content. Benny Johnson math is if you stick your watermark on someone else's face, you know, the way a dog pees on a tree, then that also is your original content. Benny Johnson math is if you use a hot girl for your thumbnail on YouTube and take her entire video with just a couple new memes spliced in, then well, it's really your original content. Benny Johnson math is if you stick a watermark on my dog, on my effing dog, then I guess he's your dog now. This is not a victimless crime. Where is PETA? Anyways, Benny Johnson math is if you start a video acting as if the material that's about to follow was written by you when it was actually written, recorded, produced, edited, and uploaded by another creator, then it's still your original content. Benny Johnson math is when you make lots and lots and lots of money by lifting content and not tagging the creator and slapping your watermark on their face, then that too is your original content. If you steal a creator's content and no one sees the original, then is it even a federal crime called copyright law? As it turns out, Benny Johnson math isn't actual math at all. It's just stealing.
Yeah. So very obviously trying to pass work off as his own. Now we all, if you're a creator, you obviously, you know, I'm doing it right now. I'm showing somebody else's work, but notice I'm not clipping out the videos and making it seem like I did it. I always try my best to credit a creator when they've done the work. This is just called being a decent human being. So if somebody else does the work, you give them credit for it. You know, especially if it's video work. Now, memes, I will argue, just like picture memes, it's a little bit harder to kind of credit somebody with that. So like my rule of thumb is if I know who actually made the meme, then I'll give them credit. If I don't, I don't really have a way of tracking down the person that created the meme. But if I do know who they are, I'm going to tag them in it. I'll reference them. I'll source them. I'll make sure that they are credited for the work that they did. But he doesn't do that. And this is, like she said, not the first time, and far from the first incident. So I want to read from you a BuzzFeed article. So this guy came from BuzzFeed, so you can kind of have an idea. You know, if you worked at BuzzFeed, probably not a very good human being. You know, maybe it was better back then, but I don't think so. So BuzzFeed writer Benny Johnson fired for plagiarism. The news and entertainment website BuzzFeed has fired the writer Benny Johnson after its editors said they found he plagiarized others' work 41 times. Not once, not twice, 41 times. That's not a mistake. That is intentional. And it's really wild. BuzzFeed editor Ben Smith, in a note late on Friday, called Benny Johnson a creative force at his best, but said a review of more than 500 posts revealed dozens of instances where he copied sentences and phrases verbatim from other websites. Smith said the plagiarism on the 7-year-old site was brought up to light this week by Twitter users. Plagiarism, much less copying unchecked fact from Wikipedia and other sources, is an act of disrespect to the reader, Smith wrote. Yeah, and he thinks you're too stupid to notice. We are deeply embarrassed and sorry to have misled you. Johnson, whose electric range of posts with attribution issues cited by BuzzFeed included items on miracle babies, things that are definitely bigger in Texas, and how to avoid eating horse meat. And he apologized via Twitter on Saturday. To the writers who are not properly attributed and anyone who has ever read my byline, I am sincerely sorry. So you would think that this instance of being caught in the very act would be enough to dissuade him, except it wasn't. it's not enough to dissuade him because he continues to this day doing the exact thing that he was fired for in 2017. So this guy clearly has not learned his lesson. And, you know, it's one thing if he, well, no, it's wrong all the time, but at least larger creators can kind of fight back against this guy. But when he's doing it to smaller creators, which he does do very often, they don't really have a recourse to fight back against somebody that has, you know, millions of followers and is able to afford lawyers and this, that, and the third. So he's just kind of able to get away with it. You know, another person, Victor Nieves, good guy, definitely a solid follow. Says Benny has repeatedly stolen content from other creators. He does it constantly. I've seen examples of him editing out watermarks on videos to claim as his own. Yeah, he's done this. He's done this over and over and over again and has never made any apology or recently has not apologized for it and just continues to double down on it. And it's really disappointing because for a while I really appreciated his work. I liked what he did. I thought some of his reporting was pretty good. And then I started kind of, you know, paying a little bit of little closer attention to what he was doing after I noticed an instance of plagiarism. Oh man, I gotta make sure I can find it because it was flagrant. Hold on a second. I gotta pull this up because it's important. It is important. All right. Well, I'll just read to you one of the quotes that I had noticed. So I'm a regular listener of Matt Walsh, and Matt Walsh had said something, basically, you know, something along the lines of that, you know, if he could marry, if he had like 100 lives, he would marry his wife in every single one of them. So that was something that Matt Walsh said. And then shortly after, I saw Benny Johnson post to his Facebook the exact same quote, at least that beginning portion, without crediting Matt. I saw it with my own two eyes. I have the screenshot on my phone. I cannot get it on my computer right now, but I do have the receipts. So you know, I've seen him do this, and it's just flat out ridiculous. It's flat out ridiculous and honestly wrong as somebody who claims Christ to not credit other creators for the work that they do. They put in time, effort, energy, and research into creating content. Just for this guy to slap his watermark on it and then monetize it. And that creator never sees a dime of that monetization, and let alone any credit. Now, me, I'm all for people sharing my content. Just, you know, let people know where you got it from. You know, if you want to screen grab something, I don't care. I don't have an issue with that. But it is nice, you know, to be credited for the work that you do. And he clearly doesn't have any interest in doing it. And I think that's an issue, again, as a man who claims Christ. You can't be stealing other people's content and then not giving them credit for it. And, you know, it'd be one thing if it was a one-off instance, but it's not. It's a pattern of behavior. It's something that he's repeatedly done, as we've seen from the BuzzFeed, from the article by Reuters, that he was fired from BuzzFeed for doing the exact same thing. And he has not changed. He continues to do it over and over again. And, you know, this is a man that calls himself a Christian, you know, and if you pass off work that's not yours, you are lying. That is not Christ-like. That is not the right thing to do. So Benny Johnson does need to repent of this. He does. And I think he can do great work. You know, I do think he has the capacity to do great work. I don't think he's somebody that should even have the need to do this. But yet he does it over and over again. And it definitely has to stop. So that's that story. I do think he needs to, just get ahead of this and own it. I'm going to do one more story, and hopefully my voice holds up. I'm not going to stay on particularly long today because I am doing a space at 9, and I want to save what's left of my voice for that. So give me 1 second. All right, I want to talk about this story. So California's new $20 fast food worker minimum wage, everything you need to know. The new law, a result of fast food worker strikes, will increase the minimum wage of workers at restaurants with more than 60 locations in California to 4 more than the state's regular minimum wage. So on April 1st, 2024, California's new minimum wage for fast food workers went into effect. The wage hike will impact workers at about 3,000 fast food locations across the state and comes as the result of years of lobbying, protests, and strikes by the Fight for 15 and a union movement. Labor advocates have hailed the new law as an important step toward winning all workers a true living wage, while some business owners have complained that the new law will cost them too much and force them to lay off workers. Here's everything you need to know. So I'm not going to get into details of this, but it's already done. It's already done that. There are fast food chains that are already shutting their doors because of this minimum wage hike. And there are fast food chains that are already increasing the cost of their items, their menu items, because of this minimum wage hike. So yeah, they got their $20 an hour minimum wage, but it's ultimately going to cost these restaurants money that they're going to pass on to the consumers. And I just don't get how people don't understand this. You know, it baffles my mind. Do you think they're going to eat that? No, they're going to pass that on to the consumer. And then your prices are going to go up, and then your minimum wage increase is going to be moot point. It's just mind-boggling to me. And then too, you know, when restaurant owners can't afford to pay somebody $20 an hour, hours are going to get cut, or people are going to get laid off, which is already happening. One person showed up to work, doors closed, sign on it, they're out of business, they're done. So they're crippling small businesses to do these minimum wage hikes. So it's going to come at the cost of shutting down smaller businesses that can't afford it. Or it's going to result in this, which I do think this is ultimately going to be out other people take. So this video is shared by, this was originally shared by Mary Morgan, and this was her experience getting fast food or getting a coffee. Meet your replacement, everybody. This is what the $20 minimum wage is going to get you. You're going to be replaced by robots. Do you really think they're going to float the bill for you forever? No, not when they can automate you away. And this is going to happen at an exponential rate. And the more we try to inflate minimum wage, the more likely employers are going to do this sooner. So it's going to be ushered in faster than you want. And then one day you're going to walk in, you're not going to have a job, and then you're going to be going to Starbucks and getting your latte served by a robot, because the average mom and pop cannot afford to do this. And I don't get how people don't see that this is going to be a reality. That this is the world that you are creating, when you keep putting demands on people that they can't keep up with. It's bad news for everybody. Yeah, maybe you temporarily will get a little bump, but you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for that in the increased cost of living, the cost of groceries, and possibly getting your hours cut at work. So then is it really worth it? Yeah, you got your $20 an hour, but guess what? You're instead of working 40 hours a week, you're working 20 hours a week. And now you don't have benefits. So it's moot point. And obviously too, like if people know, like this is another thing that it doesn't make any sense to me. If businesses know that you're making more money, they're going to raise the cost. The cost. They're going to pass costs on to you. This is the same thing with. This is the same thing. See, anytime the government gets involved in something, they just make things worse. Because this is the same thing kind of as student loans. They give out guaranteed student loans to people who cannot afford them. And what do the colleges do? They're like, oh, little Sally is now getting guaranteed tuition. You know what we'll do? We'll raise the cost of tuition and we'll just get more money from the government. As long as they keep subsidizing loans, that's what's going to happen. As long as the government, at least in California, keeps forcing employers to raise their minimum wage, those costs are going to be passed on to other people. And there are people that are greedy and will exploit it too. That's just reality. So yeah, I think this is ridiculous. I think it's a huge win. I think it's going to cause far more harm than good. And we are going to see the robot apocalypse ushered in way sooner than expected. And it's because people just won't let things go. Let's see. There's one more story. Well, just one more video I want to play. And then we're going to end it because I want to wrap up and get prepared for my space at 9. So, all right. I saw this, and because I saw it, you guys also have to see it. So this was shared from America Memed.
Oh, U.S. government of America, you've made a big mistake. You think you can take away our app? Well, we are the most powerful generation that there ever was. We are Generation Z. We won't let TikTok fall. We will rise above it all. We will save TikTok. Time's running out. Can you hear the clock? Joe Biden.
Okay. It doesn't get it's that level of cringe that you're feeling that may have killed some of you. It continues throughout the whole video. So yes, let's own the US government by doing cringe dances. That's going to get them to change their mind about TikTok. If anything, I'd be like, we need to ban it now. It needs to end. This has to stop now. Because that guy did more. I hope this is like satire, but if it's not, he did more to advance the agenda against TikTok than he could have ever possibly did to make people in favor of not banning TikTok. I mean, I want to go delete my TikTok right now because I saw this. That's how cringy it was. So that I've never exposed to anything like that ever again. Except this was uploaded on Twitter, so I probably will see more cringe stuff like this in the future. It is what it is. But yeah, god awful. And yeah, so I think that's going to be it for me today. Very short video. I want to conserve my voice because I want to be able to get through this interview without coughing my lungs out. But if you guys are free at 9, I'm hosting a Twitter space, so feel free to join me. I got a couple cool guests lined up. We're going to be talking about marriage, and this is kind of my unintentional plan to combat some of the negative stuff that we see from the red pill movement. So I'm pretty excited. You know, we hear a lot about how marriage is awful. Well, why not hear from some men who are married, who can speak to the beauty of it and how they are fulfilled in it. So I'm really excited to do these interviews, and I hope that you guys join me. If not, I will see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed night. Deuces.